Welcome back, guys. Today I am finally filming the long-awaited, most requested vegetable sushi roll recipe. So if you guys have followed along for any length of time, you probably know that this was my #1 craving during my most recent pregnancy. And I could not get enough vegetable sushi rolls, whether it was homemade, from a restaurant, whatever it was. I have tried to tweak this recipe as best as I can, so hopefully you guys can follow along and make your own at home. I hope you guys enjoy this. These are pretty simple. There's lots of different additions that you can add, whether it be raw fish like sushi grade tuna or sushi grade salmon. I am not a huge fan of raw fish. I have had it from time to time, but I really do prefer veggie rolls, and my other favorite is sweet potato rolls. If you guys have ever had that at a restaurant, I have not attempted to make them at home. They are delicious. So let me show you the ingredients that you'll need, and there's just a few tools that I use in my rolling technique, and let's jump right in. All right, so these are the ingredients that you're gonna need, and just so you guys know, this is real mom life right now. He lasted about 5 minutes. So he is gonna be hanging out with us making sushi. So let's go over the ingredients that you'll need and the couple tools that I use for rice making and sushi rolling. All right, so these are the ingredients that I use to make my vegetable sushi rolls. So first you're gonna need some nori. I made sure that these 3 items, which are kind of the specialty items, are available at just your regular grocery store. That's where I picked these up. So you should be able to find those either at Walmart or your local grocery store. And if not, try like an Asian store in your area, but I really think you guys should be able to get them. So it does come in a box. This is in the Asian section. This is toasted seaweed sheets, and this is specifically meant for sushi because they are full sheets. Sushi rice, super important that you get specific sushi rice because it is a very short grain rice, and the quality is just different, and it makes for a good quality sushi roll. It will hold together much better. So I just have my rice measured out. You want some rice vinegar. I'm just using an organic brand by American. I probably said that wrong. But this you keep in your refrigerator. It lasts for a pretty long time. And then you just need 1.25 cups of water to go with 1 cup of the sushi rice. And then for the inside of the rolls, this is what I include. I have changed it up so many times. I have added different proteins. You can add sushi grade fish, whether it's salmon or tuna, whatever your preference is. I've even done some fun spins on it for my kids where we've done teriyaki chicken or cooked shrimp. And you can also do, what else have I tried? Imitation crab. But to be honest, this roll is my favorite. It's simple, it's clean, it's very fresh, it's great for the summer. So I just have some cucumbers that I seeded, and I just cut them pretty thin, as you can see. I have some green bell pepper and an avocado, which I'm gonna wait till the very end to cut so it doesn't turn brown, and some just regular carrots cut super thin. You want the carrots to be really, really thin. So that will go inside the roll. As for some equipment, if you want to call it, you do need a wooden bowl. I've tried this with a plastic or a metal bowl, and it does not come out the same. I'm not exactly sure why. I think it has something to do with the starches in the rice. But you do need a wooden bowl, and I use a wooden spoon. To rinse the rice, you just need some sort of strainer. And to roll, you just need some plastic wrap and some sushi rolling mats. These you can buy on Amazon or Bed Bath & Beyond. I bet Walmart even has them, and they're fun. We've done like sushi rolling parties where, you know, people make their own. And then last but not least, you just need a pot for the rice. So as you can see, not a ton of ingredients, not a ton of equipment. So I'll show you how I make these rolls. All right, so for this recipe, my suggestion is that whatever sushi rice you buy, look at the instructions on the back. This is the one that I have bought for years, and I could do it with my eyes closed. But what you want to do is start at the sink. I know that sounds weird, but you want to run some cool water. Get your strainer. And you just want to rinse your cup of rice thoroughly. You want to rinse it until the water runs completely clear and all those excess starches get washed away. If you can see the water underneath, it's a little cloudy, so you want to wait until that is running completely clear, and then you are good to move on to the next step. Alright, now that our rice is rinsed, we're going to go ahead and add that 1 cup of rinsed rice to our saucepan. To the rice, you're just immediately going to add 1 1/4 cups of cool water. And then you're going to turn this to high and bring this to a boil. As soon as this comes to a boil, I like to just give it a little stir. You're going to go ahead and put the cover on and turn your heat to low. You're going to let this simmer for 20 minutes or until all the water is evaporated, and then we're going to take it off the stove and let it stand for 10. A quick tip I have for you guys, because I do it almost every time I make this recipe: don't let your rice boil over. When you initially turn that heat from high to low, don't walk away from it. Stay with it for a couple minutes. You might need to lift the lid off and let some steam evaporate, because it's a huge mess to clean up off your burner. I know, I've done it a million times. Alright, so this has been heating on low for 20 minutes. And you don't even have to take the lid off, but as you can see, there is no more water when you tip it. So I'm going to take this off the heat. I'm going to let it sit covered for 10 more minutes. So for this step, you need a wooden bowl. I just use this wooden salad bowl that I have. I use a wooden spoon. And then this is where the rice vinegar comes into play. So there's 2 types of rice vinegar. This one is just an organic rice vinegar, like I mentioned. Most recipes call for seasoned rice vinegar. The only difference is seasoned rice vinegar has sugar and salt. Let me just turn that off. My rice is ready. So seasoned rice vinegar has more salt and sugar in it, so it is more calories. Feel free to use either. So we're just going to use 2 tablespoons of this, so I'll show you what we do with the rice at this point. So the rice cooked for 20 minutes. I took it off the heat, it sat for 10 minutes, and it is piping hot. But as you can see, it is packed in there, and all of the water is absorbed. That's the most important part. So with the hot rice, I just break it up in the bowl, and look at that steam. This smells so good. Okay, to this, I'm just gonna shake up my vinegar, and we're gonna go ahead and add 2 tablespoons. So this just adds like a nice tang to it and helps it stick together. So you want to go ahead and incorporate all of the vinegar and make sure all of the grains of rice are coated. So feel free to use the back of your spoon. Alright, and there is your sushi rice. So obviously at this point it's a little too hot to handle. You can make this when it's a little bit warm. I usually let it come to room temperature. So we're gonna go ahead and let this cool, and then we'll get started rolling. All right, I still have my little guy here. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut up an avocado. So for this, you want a perfectly ripe avocado, so fingers crossed that this is a good one. pretty good. I just got a small one because I'm not making a huge amount of rolls. So what you want to do is just cut thin slices while it's still in the skin. And you want your ingredients to be thinner than you think you want them. It's kind of my rule of thumb. And then you want to go ahead and use a spoon and scoop out your avocado. There you go. There you have some nice thin slices. So what we're going to do is just fan these out. Put these on my plate. And this is just preference, but I'm just going to squirt them with a little bit of lemon juice to stop that oxidation. So I keep a couple of things next to me when I'm rolling sushi. So I have my nori pack. I have a paper towel. I have a bowl of water. This is super important. And then I just have a very sharp santoku knife to cut the sushi rolls at the end. So I have all my ingredients ready. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the nori open. So these are the sushi rolling mats that I use. As you can see, they are well loved. I first started making sushi in college, which was over 10 years ago. And that's when these are from. So they last, if you take good care of them, they last a long time. So we just need one. And then you just need regular old plastic wrap. And you just want to cover your mat. So I just tuck it under. And this will make your life a lot easier. So, to your mat. You want to work with one nori sheet at a time. So, as you can see, because they are folded up in a box, they are a little creased, but that's totally fine. So I usually put the shinier side down, and I usually take about 3 scoops of rice to get started. And like I said, this rice is just room temperature. And this is where your water bowl is going to come in handy. I want you guys to be able to see this. So you just dip your fingers in, and then you just start gently working your rice from the middle out. And feel free to re-dip, but that will keep the rice from sticking all over your hands. Do any of you guys have or had babies that just sleep like this? This is how I make dinner almost every night. He is totally content. So you want to work the rice so that it's pretty thin. And my advice is that don't get stressed out about it. It's gonna take you a few tries, but the best thing about sushi is even if it doesn't look pretty, you can still eat it. I've eaten a lot of not so pretty sushi rolls in my time. Okay, so this is pretty compact and pretty thin at this point, so I'm gonna start adding a little bit more rice. You want to go out to the edges widthwise with the rice. You want to leave about 1 inch of space on one side of the nori, and that is so that you can seal the roll. This is actually really fun to make with kids too. my advice would be maybe not make all the rolls with them, but as you get down to the end, maybe have them make a couple. My son loves rolling these. He thinks it's really fun. If you guys are new here, I have 3 kids. I have a 7-year-old little boy, Brayden. I have a 5-year-old little girl, Faith, and then I have this little guy who, his name's Chase, and he is 2 months old. And he is the reason this is so highly requested, because I ate this every single week pretty much during my pregnancy. I obviously didn't eat raw fish, but veggie rolls was definitely on the menu, let me just tell you. Alright, so that looks pretty good. I'm going to bring you guys over so you can get a closer look. So as you can see, I brought the rice out just about to the edges of the nori. I have about a 1-inch border here, and I left a little bit here because that's totally fine. So this is where you can choose whatever it is your little heart desires. So I typically start with carrot, and we're just going to put 2. So as you can see, you don't need a lot of ingredients. Don't overstuff them, that's like the worst thing you can do. I'm gonna put cucumber. Cucumber just makes it super refreshing. And if you need like a little piece, just feel free to cut it and put it together like a puzzle. We're gonna put some avocado. Avocado adds a nice creaminess to it. And then for a little crunch, we're gonna add some green pepper. Okay. The moment of truth, here we go. So, your first roll, you wanna make sure you get over the ingredients. So go slow and just tuck, gently squeeze, and then as you continue to roll, you want to pull the plastic and your mat up. So compress and do it just a tiny bit at a time, and this will help your roll stay together. And it is totally normal for some of the fillings to spill out on the edges as you compress it. At least in my experience. Okay, so we're almost to the end. So see, like I said, that piece of cucumber just popped right out. So this is the nori that I left with no rice. So you're gonna get your finger wet. You're gonna run it along that space, and then you're just gonna use the mat and finish rolling. And there is our first sushi roll. So what I like to do is I roll them all like this, and then I let them sit, and then I will go back and cut them. So I've rolled a couple of my regular sushi rolls, and I want to show you, it is a little tricky, but not super hard to roll a different kind. I'm sure you guys have seen the sushi rolls that have rice on the outside. So you're gonna take your nori, you're gonna take the shiny side and face it up. We're gonna add our rice. Okay, so for this one I make a little bit thicker of a rice layer, as you can see, and this is where the tricky part comes in. Flip your mat over the top, and I just use my cutting board to flip it. And then these are your options. You can either put your filling just in the middle here, you can add a little bit more rice. I'm just gonna go ahead and put my filling in. And I'm gonna bulk it up a little bit, so that there's a little bit more veggie in this one. So when you make these rolls, you're gonna think, oh, this doesn't make a lot. And just wait until you cut them. So I'm gonna try to use up the rest of my avocado. And we're gonna put just a little bit more carrot. So, as you can tell, it's really handy to have that damp paper towel next to you because your hands get quite sticky from the rice. So, we're gonna go ahead and roll this the same way. And as you can see, this one's a little trickier. This one took me quite a few tries. Okay. You want to make sure it gets tucked. And this is a bigger roll intentionally. Alright, so there is your rice on the outside sushi roll. I'm sure there's like a proper name for it. I'm not fancy, guys. But with this one, you can add sesame seeds or poppy seeds to the outside as a nice decoration, or you can just leave it plain. So this one is super important. You want to chill before you cut. So I'm going to put these with the rest of my rolls, and I'll show you guys how I finish preparing these. Alright, my sushi rolls have chilled, so you can see I have 2 of the regular veggie rolls and then 1 with the rice on the outside. So I have decided I'm going to put some toasted sesame seeds on this one, so I'm going to show you guys how I do it. It's really easy, but it can be a huge mess. So I'll show you a tip that I learned and makes your life a lot easier. So I have my cutting board here, and I just covered it with plastic wrap. These are the toasted sesame seeds I have. And a jar like this will last you forever. And I just go ahead and sprinkle it on the plastic wrap. I don't like a ton of them. If you like more, go ahead and add more. And then you just want to take sushi roll and roll it. And there you go. So I just add a few. And as you can see, my roll is not perfect by any means. I am not a professional sushi roller. And then you just fold this up and toss it in the trash. And there you go. So, I have let my veggie rolls cool. I have a sharp knife, and this is a Santoku knife, which just means it has the little ridges so it releases a little bit easier. And we're gonna go ahead and cut. So the ends are never pretty, but I usually stand them up and they're kind of fun. So in between each one, I have a damp, pretty damp paper towel, and you just want to clean off your blade. And I usually cut them maybe a little less than ½ an inch. And look how pretty that is. I love it. I really love sushi. It's a nice healthy lunch or dinner. Like for tonight, I'm gonna pair this with the yummy Mandarin chicken from Trader Joe's. That is my son Braden's favorite. So we'll do sushi, we're gonna do some steamed broccoli, and then we'll have some sushi rolls. My kids are not huge fans of these. They do not like the taste of the nori. If my son's in the mood for it, he will eat them. And my advice is to eat these the same day. I have eaten them in the past the day after. They just tend to lose their quality. And after one day, like one full day, they're not really any good anymore. So these are best prepared the same day you're gonna eat them. And the simple way is just to eat them with some soy sauce. And I also have a little dipping sauce that I'm gonna show you how to make. So So I got 11 pieces out of that one veggie roll, so that's pretty good. So I have at least 30 here. So I know that 3 rolls doesn't look like a lot, but believe me, it's more than you think. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut the rest of these, and then I will show you the 2 dipping sauces that we use. All right, so one of the sauces that we use is just plain old soy sauce. This is my favorite brand. It's the La Choy, and it's the light kind. And then this sauce is pretty simple and easy. So you just take maybe like a tablespoon of mayonnaise. You're gonna add a little bit of sriracha. As little or as much as you want. And then lemon juice. And I'm just using the little fake lemon. I usually have lemons on hand, but I do not today. Add a little bit of that. I add some fresh cilantro from my garden, and I just rip it up. And then I just add a little bit of ground pepper. And then you just mix to combine. And the lemon juice thins it out. So you have this nice thin sauce. So there you go. So for this sauce, I really enjoy it on larger rolls, just because you just add a tiny bit and it just adds a nice flavor. So you can drizzle it, just add a little bit like this. But there you go. So that's a super simple sauce, and it adds a nice touch of flavor to a roll. So there is the finished product. Made about 30 something rolls, and those are the 2 sauces that we use with our sushi rolls. All right, my little guy is still sleeping. We are gonna go ahead and give these sushi vegetable rolls, I know they're not real sushi, a try. So I have my chopsticks, I have my soy sauce. So here we go. Super good. It's like crisp from the vegetables and refreshing. I love this recipe. Hopefully you guys will give this a try. For those of you that have been asking for it, I'm sorry it took so long to finally film this. But hopefully you enjoyed it. Give us a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. I don't know if there's gonna be any of these left for dinner.